Well, somehow this weekend my productivity reached unbelievable levels and I was able to complete 2 clocks in 3 days. And here's one of them. This cute little thing that we see in here is a small Junghans box clock made in April of 1937 according to the stamp on the movement in Germany. This type of clock is also referred to as a gnome clock, since, it's quite small and wide, and in some people's eyes it looks like a gnome, even though I don't quite see the similarities, and I'd rather not call it that. It runs for 8 days on a full winding, and it strikes on the hour and on the half hour on 3 chime rods with bim bam. And it's what I call a side striking clock, meaning that it has the chime rods mounted to the side of the movement, as you can see, instead of behind it. Which makes this clock quite thin compared to other box clocks. The chime rods are quite oddly tuned. I'll explain why in a sec, after I'll let you hear what it sounds like. I bought this clock in late April this year, just in time for its 89th birthday, and when I first saw it for sale, I knew that I just had to get it. I mean, look at it. The case design is so pretty, and the color combination is just perfect. I love the dark wood finish of the case, and the silver dial and pendulum bob go perfectly with it. It's just such a pretty clock. It has become one of my personal favorites from my collection, and I'm seriously considering moving it to my room permanently since, I don't know, it's just so pretty. Even though I could keep going for hours telling you how much I love this clock, it's time to move on to something else. If you're familiar with my videos, you might know that whenever I post about the Junghans clock, I tell you what the model number of the clock is and show you a catalog picture of it. But I didn't do that today. As soon as I got the clock, I started looking for it in the Junghans archive, and I kept searching and searching and searching, and 2 hours later I had nothing. This clock was nowhere to be seen in there. If you're also a Junghans freak like myself, you might be like, but Luca, the model number is always written on the case, why didn't you just read it? Well, surprise. It's nowhere to be found, not even on the inside. Now, the Junghans archive isn't quite complete, there's some catalogs missing from certain years, and at first I thought that this clock was one of the unlucky cases in which the catalog was missing, until I started piecing together some stuff, because I thought that this thing looked pretty weird for a typical Junghans construction of the period. The main giveaway that something was going on here is this bottom glass. Junghans clocks typically have a metal grille with separate glass panels fitted into it, while this one has a singular piece of glass with this design carved into it. And I thought it looked pretty weird. I have never seen another Junghans with this feature before. The unusual tuning of the rods also made me raise an eyebrow, since I have never heard a naturally out of tune Junghans before, and I am 100% sure that the lowest rod of this tuning was trimmed to fit into the case. Then I remembered that the seller mentioned in the description of the listing that he brought this clock here from Sweden, and after a little more research and piecing together what I had, I came up with an answer. This clock is not a mainstream Junghans. Even if the archive was complete, I could have spent my entire lifetime searching for it in there and I wouldn't have found it because this is a Junghans movement in chime block in a Swedish-made case. My best guess is that this clock was made either by a branch of Junghans, which was located in Sweden, or by whoever the case maker was who bought the movement in chime rods from Junghans and trimmed the longest rod to fit into the case. I'd say it's more likely to be the second variant though, since I'm pretty sure Junghans didn't have any other branches aside from, well, their main factory in Schramberg. And what I'm saying here makes quite a bit of sense. I mean, if you're familiar with Swedish-made Westerstrand clocks, you might notice some similarities in the construction of the case, especially considering the bottom glass. So, yeah, that's my take on this. However, if you think you have another answer and some evidence supporting it, any opinions are welcome. This clock also came with the original key, and I'll now let you have a quick look at the inside of the case, since there's not much to see really. Most of it is covered by the dial. And here are the upside down mounted hammers. This clock is powered by the Junghans W277, which I'll let you have a look at. But before that, if you're curious to know what this clock was originally supposed to sound like, there's a link in the description below. So yeah, now I'll let you see some clips that I recorded while I was working on this clock. Okay, I kinda had a pretty bad day today and forgot to record the first test run of this clock. But yeah, here it is. I did some adjustments to the pallet height and also cleaned off some of the more visible excess oil, and the clock seems to be going. Of course, it's gonna need a proper cleaning, but until then, it should be fine the way it is. And here's the dial with the hands, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, so here's the movement of the small Junghans box clock, completely taken to bits. Well, minus the gathering pallet, because I'm not even gonna try to remove that thing. It had the wonderful opportunity to be the first movement that I ever dismantled with my girlfriend next to me, and I have to say it was quite a fun experience. And oh boy, whoever previously oiled this really liked the timeside mainspring, as you can see. There was so much gooey black oil in there that, I don't know, I just couldn't believe my eyes. All the other pivots were fine, but that one was something else. So I lost no time in cleaning that off, and I have to complete the process. So I'll be back after cleaning this and putting it back together. And before putting it back together again, I wanted to show you all the bigger parts nicely cleaned up and laid out in here. So yeah, here they are. Much better. And there you have it, the finished article. A Junghans W277, freshly cleaned and oiled. Yeah, if you're wondering why I finished this quite late at night, I had to leave and I came back home like really late. And yeah, that's how I ended up doing this quite late at night, but regardless, I'll let you see the movement in better detail tomorrow. And we've reached the next day, and here is the movement setup on test in the case. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It has a much wider swing on the pendulum than before, and the striking train operates much more quietly. The power of synthetic oil. I'll be keeping it with the dial off for a few more days. I was originally planning to hang this clock in here, but as I said before, I think I'll be keeping it here in my room. And I think that's all that I have to show for this video. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope that you liked this cute little clock that I have in here. So yeah, I was Luca, and we'll see each other again some other time. Bye bye!